everyone. Good morning to those of you who are overseas. It's bloody cold here. So the videos have been uploaded, but for those of you who have questions in each zodiac sign, I'm happy to answer some questions, and I will be doing a collective energy per element. So I'll briefly wait for a few people to get on, and then we shall get started. And if no one gets on, I'll just go, pretty much. So I trust that our June is going to move beautifully. Are we all ready for the retrograde? Are we all bracing ourselves, feeling purely optimistic? Somebody's feeling optimistic. How are we all? We are going to do the air sign elements for the collective energy. We'll wait a few more minutes and then we will briefly get tucked into it. And if anyone who is an air sign on here has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. This is your opportunity. So we've got Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. Librans, you guys have had a rough ride. I'm feeling as though a lot of the Libran energy is very much attempting to manifest. Now that can be, that can be at a level of a financial nature. Definitely the air signs are really moving through adversity at the moment. Librans have dealt with a lot of adversity with their friendships, with their finances, really having to constantly pick themselves up and dust themselves off. So when I did the videos for the different signs, I usually within the videos when I'm doing them live, I very much give, an interpretation of the energy I'm feeling, and we have that direct connect. So I'll still be pre-recording them, but I think I will do a collective energy video discussing the elements and talking about, what everyone's basically been going through. So for Librans at the moment, you need to not be so hard on yourselves, because a lot of what you've gone through has been very emotionally challenging. So definitely a lot of the impact has really knocked you for six. Some of you might be just thinking, shit, is this ever going to stop? And look, I have Libran in me. So at times I'm like, okay, 3D, so in it, and you're just saying to yourself, be humble, keep rising above it. But I was explaining to somebody I know that the only way I could directly explain what has been happening to Libran is it feels like they've been spiritually raped. That's the only way I can explain it. And the way you're coming through with that aspect of integrity, the resilience, you're like, the purging, you're almost to the point where you're thinking to yourself, and a lot of us have been saying this, is there any more I could purge? Is there any more I could release? Is there any more I could take? And it just keeps coming. So, hats off to you guys. It's huge. Keep going though. Once that aspect of ego dies, there's nothing more that can be taken from you. And the backbone that you guys will have will be phenomenal. So just keep going with that. A lot of you are trying to manifest the cash component. A lot of you are having mass tower moments where they've already transpired, and a lot of it, the pieces you're picking up. We are moving back into retrograde, which is going to cause us to almost go like, what are we expecting here? A lot of past related issues are going to come back. So anything that we dealt with a few months ago, it's coming back for reassessment to a point where we look at it and go, okay, now did we put Humpty Dumpty back together again correctly? And if we didn't, how the shit are we going to put that crap together again? For some of you, it can mean that people from the past come back. That can be at friendships, that can be karmic energies, it can be physical people that of a romantic nature, or just a traditional 3D nature of people that you know. But it's going to come back for reassessment. Now, the way you have to look at that situation, hi Chrissy, you need to be very cautious. You need to look at it correctly. Hopefully you've done enough purging that you can look at it correctly. And you've also grown enough backbone that you can deal with it correctly. I do feel you guys are going to be fine in that area. But just be aware that because of the fact we're in retrograde, it can be unresolved issues coming up, and that can be on different sides, not just your side of the fence, but on other people's side of the fence as well. So don't jump the gun. If somebody's expecting you to make a decision right away, don't do that. Try and step back and actually process the information and have a look at the situation correctly so that you can make the most correct decision. Hi, Dawn, how are you? Now, financially speaking, a lot of you are being tested connected to your spiritual path. Now, that can be in relation to which way you go, how to apply yourself at a employment-related level. A lot of you have done a lot of spiritual healing and proved to yourself that you're a lot stronger than you thought you were. And you would have really preferred perhaps not to have known that factor, but you've gained that clarity regardless. What else am I picking for you guys? Family-related dynamics have been pretty iffy. It has been a tough purge, but like I said previously, it literally feels like you're being spiritually raped. That's about the nicest way I can actually describe the energy that Libran has been experiencing. There is a lot of adversity. There's a lot of challenges, but it will get there. Now, there may be energy of children in some of your situations that you're directly dealing with, external or internal, or childhood-related issues. They are going to resolve, but the key to a lot of it is trying to get your balance back so you can get yourself okay, so that then you can help others. A lot of the energy of feminines has very much been you placing yourself second. Gemini is a little bit different when it comes to that, but they're having issues as well. The Aquarians are very agitated externally, but Librans at the moment are trying to get their balance back in their life because they've been so used to the scale. You know, we talk about the Libran scale. It's got to be balanced. It's such a load of shit. Libran scale in general for generations has always been this. That was you. That was everybody else. And that's dead. That's dead. It's just, see, the lights went out. That's a bloody metaphor in itself. It's just, it cannot be that way anymore because you're spent. You're just so spent that you have nothing left to give. You are sniffing out energy vampires. That's an aspect of the awakening. You're seeing things very clearly now. Now, if somebody isn't giving you any time, you're definitely not giving them the time of day either. And it's not that you don't want to. It's physically that emotionally and spiritually you just don't have it to give, because you go in with complete integrity to give the best to people and to see the best in people. And it's not that you're changing, and it's not that you should change. It's the fact that they need to get their vibration right. And the way you were doing that was through hopefully what you thought was an education, but you had to educate yourself before you could help another. So it's not so much in teaching. We look at it in a sense of when we're looking at a person and we're educating our children, for example, we do it in a particular way, but a lot is monkey see, monkey do. Okay, so if you are living your life through your passion, your desire, you know, holding your integrity, you're walking your truth. That's all you need to do. That's an education in itself. And that dictates how people are going to treat you and what your benchmark is. And unfortunately, Libran for so long has been them down here, everybody else up here. And that's where we really had that learning curve connected to, maybe we didn't know we were doing that, but we're super aware now. So the scales have to come back up here, and we haven't reached that point yet, but we're really cleaning up mess. That can be paperwork, can be finances, it can be our emotions. And when it's super strange because it's almost like anything that could go wrong has gone wrong. And you're just looking at the chaos of the storm and going, I really have to pick this up. So you're doing the best to pick up what is relevant right now and put it back together again. But you're also becoming super creative when you do finalize that purging. And it's not that it's ever going to end. It's more that you're going to look at it in a sort of systematic view where you're looking at it from an outsider's point of view and you're doing a 360 and saying, I can see where some things need changing. I can see where perhaps my attitude could have been different. But don't dig into it that hard that you psychoanalyze every aspect of it, because it's just not going to benefit you. Gemini. Geminis have been super cool for so long, but a lot of it has been a facade. A lot of things external to them, you know, when they've got that whole thing going on, everything's flowing. But there's things that are getting triggered outside of them and they're looking around them, and it's really coming to a point where it's hurting them. It's really hurting them to the core of looking at things and it just not really fitting with their integrity anymore. There can be clashes connected to work going on. There can also be dynamics with family members who they once got on with that suddenly they just don't gel with anymore. There's a lot of emotions connected to family. And, you know, with these family dynamics, it's old situations that just have been completely unresolved. And it's like they put the fairy fluff up and now it's just that candy stinks. It's just not working for them anymore. Some things that they put on the back burner, they've had so many tower moments in their life that, you know, with the smiles and the shine that they have, it's just, it's hard now to keep that going. There may be some cross wires, also some very angry kind of communication coming through. I'm really setting some people straight, but with certain people, it's almost like they're so flawed, they physically can't even speak their truth. They're just so flawed. There might be movement as well for them. And some things that they had passion, and they're finding that even though they have great passion and drive within their career, they're just losing it at the moment. It's like they're looking for something. So even when they are doing great, it's usually that they're not really preempting it or thinking it. That suddenly when they actually stop and they have a few tower moments, they're coming to a place where they're looking at it and they're realizing there's a dark thing going down inside. And that dark situation is a past tense energy. Now, this can be connected to a family member, a falling out connected to a family member, or a family member that passed. It can also be connected to a lost love that they had placed, you know, sort of in the back burner, in the back of their mind, and never really dealt with it. I do think massive changes are coming for Gemini, and people aren't going to see it coming. It's just going to be like that. A lot of friendships are going to be cut as well. Aquarius. You guys are pissed. Just pissed. You've been carrying this for far too long. You need to let it go. And I've been hearing that song all day. And I know my daughter's an Aquarian, and I've got many people I know that are Aquarians. You're straight shooters. You're completely straight shooters. But you're hurt at the moment to the point where it's like you're going into war. But who are you fighting against? You know? What are you fighting for? You need to ask yourself that question. Because again, a lot of us with this death of ego, it directly comes from what is going inside. Now, this can be past life situations. This can be trigger points connected to the way in which you communicate and how people are not seeing eye to eye. Your communication is going to be the key in these situations, but you're not listening. You know, sometimes we need to stop, even if we are completely correct. We need to stop and hear the other side, because we learn from other people. And a lot of what's going on can just be misfires of communication. Aquarians do have an issue again connected to the past. Now, this could be connected to mother or father or a love interest. But it is key areas, and it's like you're doing bog laps, going around and around in circles. You don't want to be chasing your tail forever. And I mean, I said this to a lady today. You do come to a point, air signs, where you physically get I know you'd love to run, but ultimately speaking, how long are you going to run from yourself before you stop and you realize that the only thing you're doing is actually running from yourself? And that when you actually stop and confront your fears, even if it is like event horizon and suddenly they're staring you in the face, if you physically face them, what can hurt you after? You could go to Africa, you could go to Tasmania, you could go to New Zealand. Ultimately speaking, if that pain is there, that pain's going to follow you. No matter where you go, it's going to follow you. So at this point, it is really, we have 3 months. Now we're in retrograde. The way you need to look at it is, how are you going to apply your energy? Are you going to have the courage, and are you going to stand and actually face those aspects of the fears? Or are you going to run away and avoid it and delay it? Remember, Chiron's here for 8 years. You know, it's something that we actually can't physically avoid in that aspect of healing. With the other planets directly connected, that's not going to let us kind of face that situation out regardless, because we're really going to be forced into that. So the quicker we actually grasp that concept, and when we have our aha moments connected to the things that we need to fix, we need to address them as soon as humanly possible. And that is for your sanity. I mean, I've been on YouTube for 2 years, and I've always said that the laws of attraction, and usually the laws of the universe, is that we have these 3 rules, okay? You have the aha moment, the near miss. You have the, hey, we're telling you this is coming. And then you have, bang, it's done. Now you either take action in that situation, or universe forces your hand. And I mean, some of us don't want to have to make these hard decisions in our life, but sometimes you have to. Because if you don't, you're going to be cast on that road regardless of you fighting it. And especially with all of us evolving, we really have no choice but to go with it. So do we swim against the ocean, or do we go with it and actually get to the other side and then clean ourselves up? I mean, really, we're best to jump in the deep end because we're in it already. Any questions? Yeah, there has been a lot of anger. Yeah. Yes, it has been forcing our hand, but look, Librans especially, and the water signs in general, you know, you have grown. You're growing a lot, and I know it's painful, and I know we were saying, hey, we're looking under our armpit, how much more purging do we have? We probably have a great deal more. Yes, we may have gone through the dark night of the soul. We're going through an aspect of ascension. We've also got the planets hitting us for 6. But where we're going to come to is very much a place where we're not driven by money, so we're living without money. And I put a post on Facebook, and that was connected to, I did share it with a few people, and I might try and share the link on this video. And it was this motivational speaker talking about the fact that he was hoping that you had people betray you. He was hoping that you had people cheat on you. He was hoping that you lived without money, because these are the things that creates a backbone. These are the things that creates gratitude. And without those aspects, we wouldn't have this. So although we can say, why will we be grateful for somebody robbing us? Why would we be grateful for somebody cheating on us? Because we value relationships then. You know, ultimately, we look at it from a different perspective, and we take relationships very seriously. It humbles us to a point where we don't look at them like they're a game, where we don't want to walk into a situation like it's a game. So, you know, and having money and not having money. I lived on a farm for 3 years, and I ate vegetarian for 3 years. Every morsel of food to me was a benefit, but I was grateful for it because I worked very hard, and at the end of each day, every mouthful felt like I was filling my soul because I was so hungry. You know, how many of us in modern society get to a point where we are that physically fucking hungry? I mean, how many do I? In my days now, I do. I'm very grateful for the food that I have. I had an outdoor toilet probably for 3 years, and I'm very grateful for my running water and my flushing toilet. It's the small things that we just take for granted. that the death of ego is directly connected to modern society of, you know, how very lucky we are, but we need to have that gratitude. I mean, definitely with finances, when they're tight, you are more cautious about the way in which you use things. And shouldn't that be the way it was at all times? I'll have to read that comment again, lovely, because I didn't get that last one. What do you mean when you say some need to take on toxicity energetically? In what shape or form? Where was this, in here or a previous video? Hi, Gypsy. Anything that happens to us is divinely guided. So sometimes when things happen, it's so that we can actually purge that cycle. So at the time, it might not look like it's great. But some who are twins will directly feel that energy connected to what is going on the other side. Does that make sense? If that is directly answering your question, as my cat stares at me. That is possible. As I said in the twin flame video, I've actually connected that article I was talking to you about. And it's not to say you're going to. There's more of a likelihood of a trigger point coming back. It can be connected to past life, but it also can be connected to where the planets are. I think in the article it states that this person, did you read it? Yeah, the person was actually researching it. So look, a lot of it is about purging old ways of doing things. So even at a spiritual level, if you physically purged it and then it comes back up, it's because emotionally there is a block connected to that time frame when it started. So if it does trigger again, it's not the energy of the toxicity. It's the energy of not releasing that hurt connected to a time when that cycle began, because they're the Band-Aid effect. Do you know what I mean? So it's coming about for a particular reason to be healed in a different way. My cat is so bossy. Does that make sense? What? Cool. I'm proud of you, Laurie. I am gradually working on mine. I feel air and as though I've been reset. Yeah, the more I look at it, you will come to a place where you're so tired that you're like, when something is said to you in a particular way, you'll be like, yeah. But there has been an anger energy. There definitely has been an aspect of energetic anger. And I mean, you know, in a separate video, that did come up collectively for twins. But again, it's collective energy for feminine and masculine in general as a whole. But definitely, you know, a lot of us have been experiencing very, just all of a sudden, very agitated. And then it just dissipates. And it's like, ooh, where did that go? A lot of the Libran energy is slowly working through those things. Hi, Libra. How are you, doll? So how have your downloads been? How have your synchronicities been going? How has your manifesting been going, air signs? Is there anything that you're stumbling across that you need some help with? We will keep it short and sweet. I am going to do this for each zodiac sign, each element, because this month I'm going to try and get the twin flame per element done on the website, but I'm still keeping all the twin flame videos on YouTube. Okay, downloads can be all of a sudden you might start having these signs around you. Now, the more in tune to universe you get, You might be seeing repetitious items. So it could be a ladybug and you're seeing them everywhere. And that's usually how people stumble across the aspect of synchronicity. So it can be all of a sudden you're seeing butterflies, 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 moths, then the certain color. Then you know, the more you get connected to that, you Google totem. And I mean, I have that on the website regardless. So if you guys want to go on, it does take you away. Feathers can be its time for meditation. Feathers are asking you to stop and meditate. 111 is that you're directly on the correct path, and the more you see it, it's saying yes, yes, keep going. It's divinely guided. Radio and music can be connected to messages from universe that they want you to hear, especially when it's over the top. 2 is connected to duality and your twin flame. Yep, twin flame. 1222. Again, just go, you type it in to YouTube. I'm going to try and do videos connected to this. And I'm also going to do it connected to how it, see, you can Google it, but when it comes to twin, that's a different energy. And when it comes to what you're thinking at the time, it's a different energy. So yes, it's got the relevant energy, but it can have a double-handed meaning as well, depending on what you're thinking. So pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to that synchronicity. If it's a number, you write the number in and you write meaning in YouTube, and it'll come up with angel numbers or guidance numbers. When it comes to insects, you write the name of it, animal totem. So I've got animal totems and dream dictionary on the website. I'm also going to add recipes to the website for your detox and, you know, your cleansing. I'm getting there. I've been a busy bee. But yes, I will be doing videos to help ground people when they're feeling very stressed, how you can get your energy back, how you can calm yourself. Definitely, if you guys are regular customers and you're on my Skype, if you need an emergency booking, just inbox me on there. I'm generally there every single day because it's either Kim or Mark or Jen or Luciana. You know, somebody's talking to me. Just inbox me and we can tee up an emergency reading. Any other questions? You're preparing. I've already gone through that. Okay, so when we're throwing things out, it is a signal from universe to prepare because we're making room for the new. When you're packing, however, that's another subject. That means you're moving. And I used to do that all the time, just out of nowhere. I'd start packing and I go, why am I packing? So I'd throw things out, and then what would then follow, if I was moving, is suddenly I'd start packing. And I'd be like, but where am I going? So there's 2 sides. So just pay attention to your vibration. You're preparing for the new. You're making space for new energy, which is positive. It's also purging as well because you're releasing the past. You're letting it go. I mean, you know, a lot of us, when we're got that empath connected to us in the early years, we're hoarders to a degree, at varying degrees. That's okay. But yeah, it definitely clears and prepares. And I mean, if you're manifesting a person in, make room for them in your home. So it can be if you're, the headaches is connected to your 3rd eye. A lot of the air signs will be having throat chakra issues at the moment because of a lack of communication. So if you've been having trouble swallowing and your 3rd eye, it's definitely, you know, something going on. If you packed, okay, if you packed but you never unpacked, it means you're not happy with your environment. I'm just saying. You haven't committed to the environment. And when you move things around, that's generally connected to dissatisfaction within it, and you're trying to make shit feel like roses. Cool. Google yellow. Never paint a baby's room yellow, by the way. They won't sleep. Bad colour. Good colour for study, not a good colour for the bedroom. Any other questions? No questions. It's super quiet. Yeah. Try and change the frequency in the home. It might be a bit of purging you need to do directly connected to it to adjust to the environment. The nauseous can be connected to the planets, and that's in the twin flame video. There's a little link directly below. It can be that we're having deficiencies where the planets are at the moment. And I'm getting so many headaches. It's just driving me crazy. A lot of us are having jaw-related issues, almost like we're teething. And I'm definitely teething. I've got like teeth problems at the moment. The nausea can be connected to another energy that you're directly connected in with, or it can be the ascension symptoms. So it depends. Okay, generally, if something isn't selling, it's because you mentally are not ready. You're blocking it. And you're like, how? I don't understand. Because emotionally, you have blocks connected to trusting and releasing ego. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Yeah, it's the third eye activation. Any pain, that's why I keep straining. It's giving me wrinkles. Oh, yeah, it's the headaches connected to it. And definitely when your third eye is overactive, you know, that can be happening where your intuition is being called upon. No shit. I mean, Mark said to me, let's do a video on ego. I went, we already did a video on ego. The death of ego is a very personal kind of path. It depends on where you're getting the triggers connected to it. You know, the more mindful you are, it's almost like you're your own therapist, and it's fucking horrible. What's the whooshing in the air? It's in the ascension. We're being realigned, okay? So a lot of the way we're experiencing things is going to become very different. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a moment, Adrian. Hold that note and about the ego, because it's connected to head and heart chakra. Because we're letting, I've got to remember what questions they were now. See, I just talk too much. This is a problem. Okay, the first question. Okay, the ringing in the ears is connected to ascension. So what's happening is there's so many changes. It's like you're in a washing machine. As your chakras are opening and getting activated, it's a bit like they're pistons, and they're either shooting incorrectly, or they're overshooting, or they're blocked. Now, each chakra, when we're in ego, each chakra, if it's not aligned correctly, we can't have that aspect of ascension, right? So we're not doing breathing exercises, yoga, meditation, eating certain foods, not using techniques to actually block or suppress that pain, because that's a technique that we use to suppress it. So, you know, I was explaining to a lady today that, you know, even though they say, especially in connections or twin flames, if you're a twin flame and you're trying to get into union with your twin, that you've got to purge toxicity. Yes and no. What it directly comes down to is, as long as you're aware and you're not utilizing that as a means to suppress emotion, and you're doing the purging and you're not suppressing that emotion, yes, your vibration needs to be healthy. We're not going to outrule that one. But the reason is because if you're using a technique to suppress emotion, your pistons aren't going to be shooting correctly. So you're not going to have your ascension correctly. But a lot of it is going to be forced regardless. So that is purging habits. And, you know, I've definitely changed my frequency when it comes to my mindset where my diet is changing. I'm exercising, I'm meditating, I'm having a very strict routine, I'm manifesting, I'm avoiding aspects of news to keep my vibration correct. Um, I'm purging my, habit connected to tobacco, so I'm gradually doing that. So it's a process, and as I said, we're going to do the video connected to us manifesting what we're wanting to, and trying to move forward with that so that we can get the best out of our situation. Now, when it comes to the ego, ego, what was that question? Okay, the ego is where we are not trusting in the process, where we feel directly we need to have an ego. And it's not that it's going to go completely, it's the fact that think of ego as that little devil on your shoulder talking shit to you, basically saying, you can't achieve that. This person's going to do this to you. This person's talking about you. What, because you're a man, you can't do this. Because you're a woman, you can't do that. It's the little bird in our ear that directly comes from childhood all the way through, sitting on our shoulder, chirping crap at us, to the point where we use that as a technique, like the Band-Aid, like the aspect of codependency, where it prevents us from elevating and moving forward. And then with things that we learnt through, and that's, what a lot of us, when we're listening to different videos, is talking about the old ways of living, the old paradigms. We're breaking them down because they are the things that have prevented us from spiritually moving forward. Advancing our minds so that we actually understand that there's more than what we physically see in the 3D here right now. So that's what's going. The old crap, the old ways of thinking things. And a lot of us have actually changed, our mindset, the way we, look at different things. Yeah. So, that's changing. A lot of us couldn't go back to the way we were before. You will know, because if when you trust, because it's your higher self, when you trust in the process and you're not driven by trying to control it, that's when you know that your ego is not controlling you. When you actually trust in the process that everything that's happening is happening for a reason, that's when you're actually flowing with universe and working with universe, and knowing that you have the tools and you don't need to use them unless you had an emergency. So you're not getting all paranoid. And a download, it is further back in the video, but I'll repeat it again. A download can be a vision you're seeing. It can be synchronicities of repeating numbers. So again, if you see the repeating numbers, you can put the numbers that you've seen into YouTube and write meaning, and it's going to give you an idea. It can be seeing feathers. In the start, I was seeing 111, 222, 555, and I was like, what's this? And this is when I found out. And then I started seeing feathers, and I had a box of bloody feathers, and it was like, okay, my angels are watching me. The anxiety is connected to the ascension, but the anxiety can be through that process, but that's going to kind of dissipate. It's going to change, because when we're super aware, we're picking up other energies coming towards us as well while we're going through that. And if you're having the nausea, you're having the ringing ears, the throat chakra, the chakras are, opening up and changing. So we do have a lot of third eye and throat chakra going on, and heart chakra at the moment. If you guys have been experiencing tight chest, a lot of us have been opening our hearts and purging a lot of hurt connected to heart chakra. So a lot of you would have been experiencing those. But as I say all the time, if you are having ailments, go to the doctors. But this is just at a chakra-related energy frequency. So again, use your meditation. When you go to bed, if you can't fit it into your routine, I fell asleep last night. I had my headset on, and I was listening to chakra music, and I woke up and I still had the headset on. Any other questions before I go? So what other zodiac signs do we have here? Crack. Yes, and you will release that depending on how far you are in the journey. And again, I will be doing, when I get around to it, so many videos. There's just not enough time in the day. Gemini. Well, all of this is for the air signs. Gemini. Yes, I did mention things back further in Gemini. No other signs. Do we have any water signs in the house? Do we have any fire signs in the house? Good old Cancer Moon. Yeah, I'm with you there. We have too much in common, lady. Maybe we're twins. Don't tell Mark. I've been stirring him up on his page. He cow-bombied my site the other day, and then I said to him this morning, well, my time this morning, I said, did you see my video? I said, yeah, Mark, I was watching a video. So I added comments to his video just to tease him. Cool. Well, I'll see how I go with time frame. Luciana, I miss you. But I feel as though this is the way I'm going to do them at the moment. I will upload the videos and then I'll do energy readings separate. And then that way we can do the energy of the elements. We can have our chat and we can bounce back and forward and we can move along. But if you're wanting a booking, you can come to the website. Any first time people coming through, there's a special for those of you who have not come through to Yilda's readings. So, it is discounted for first clients. Because, it's a welcome card, basically. But I have actually written on there a rough estimate, because a lot of you didn't know that. Obviously, me being in Australia, it's in AUD. So it's in Australian dollars. So I have basically put information connected to that. You work out your schedule, Dale, and we can book it in any time. Otherwise, find me on Skype and just inbox me when you're ready. We can always do it on the day. And I'm pretty much available Monday to Sunday, although I have been offered to anyone who is in Australia, in Perth, or if you are coming, I will be working with a girlfriend through her centre. It's in Warina. So I'll give her a plug soon. And I'll be working there on Saturdays now and then. So you will be able to book that via the website. I'm unsure of when that's opening. But yes, I will be in person there once a week. So I'll let you guys go. Have a great morning or night wherever you are in the world. And I'll be back to do more later. That's okay, Sandy. Take care, doll. Look after yourselves, guys.